Welcome to Tops and Bottoms, episode 2.
Hey!
With your guest,
Host.
MC, host.
There you go.
Permanent guests, Eddie, Jobby, and Miguel.
It's really
Alright.
comfortable.
I know, that's why I
All
said
right,
down.
so today's podcast, as you can see by the title, it's very, I guess you could say real, very deep.
Yeah. And I'm going to be presenting today's topic because it's something I've mulled over plenty of times.
Right.
Between jerk-off sessions?
Exactly.
Let's bring the mood down a little bit. Let me take a bit of a sip of my giggle
I
water.
already took like 4
Giggle
sips
water.
since you've been talking.
So, I want to know your guys' thoughts on pragmatism and idealism. Like, which one do you guys tend to, I guess, straight towards?
Lean towards.
Yeah, in life.
Lean on me. These are the songs. That's a good song. Anyway,
I know.
that's a pretty good song.
That's that part from the Brawny commercial.
Okay. So, whoever wants to go.
So pragmatism versus idealism. What side of the spectrum do we fall under? Eddie, would you like to answer that question first, or should I? On the spectrum of pragmatism.
You said spectrum, and my mind immediately went to you know where.
Well, I mean, we're all we're all on that spectrum, but this spectrum, where do you fall on?
I think more on the pragmatic
side
of the spectrum.
You have a very pragmatic look about you.
Because
you don't look very idealistic.
I'm
at all.
a pessimistic, miserable
Yeah,
bastard.
you're very much so. You don't like life.
The beard says it all. You have a happy beard. You don't.
A very stoic beard.
Eddie, sit on the corner like I am.
On the corner of what?
On the table.
Of the
Yeah,
sit on.
so I can see you. Just move your chair. Yeah.
Oh, okay, you mean like
Yeah, there you go. Sorry.
So.
It's fine. I'll take care of it later. Go ahead.
Okay. Build the rest of my face. I assume everything's gonna go very poorly, and I think that's the most realistic approach to most things.
Okay.
So you're kind of like the guy who plans ahead for for the worst case scenarios.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's some things I'm very idealistic about, or it'd be nice to be idealistic about. Like, I mean, like I feel most people are somewhat decent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're not huge pieces of shit.
Except me. No, I'm just
I don't know. There's just it's hard to name a few things that I'm a little bit more idealistic about or more optimistic about. I try to combat the pessimism in my head because even to an extreme pessimism is even unrealistic also. To assume everything's gonna go bad even though there's no real evidence that's gonna go bad. So I try to balance it out, but mostly it doesn't win.
Okay. So you're unrealistically pessimistic. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. That's meta.
That is pretty meta.
That's really meta.
That's a really good point that you brought up too about how extreme pessimism it's unrealistic and also it's really unhealthy for you. Like how do you move on if you're constantly thinking everything's gonna go wrong?
Just drink it away, man.
I guess so. Well, I guess in my case, I feel that I fall somewhere toward the middle. I'm not super idealistic. I acknowledge that things can go wrong all the time. Things have gone wrong a lot of times, but I do have a spot of idealism. I mean, you kind of have to if you're trying to. Well, me personally, trying to pursue YouTube as a career. That's pretty idealistic.
But I feel like in your case, you've gotten a big enough response where it warrants there's a proof. There's
and that's the thing. It's I feel that I'm I fall into this category where it's I guess you could call it lucky. This category where pragmatism and idealism kind of meet.
Yeah.
So it's
there's a level playing field there. There's common ground there.
Yeah, it's I have the means to follow my dream, basically.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
Those are my basic thoughts on it. But I do acknowledge the importance of being pragmatic. I mean, if either side of the spectrum, really unhealthy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's I guess on the extreme version of idealism, it'd be you're pursuing let's say maybe you want to be a big time musical artist.
Yeah.
And you're not being honest with yourself and realistic with how talented you are or how hard it is to break through.
Right.
all the other noise and stuff like that. So I guess that could be in like you become like a starving artist pretty much.
Exactly,
that's
that.
not a fun life.
And that's where that whole stereotype comes from, is that these starving artists are consumed by idealism. They feel that if they just stick to what they love without any sort of real real context or real evidence backing it up, that it can they can live off of it. That's what happens. They starve. But that also brings up another question, is that idealism and pragmatism. It's like, is it better to be pragmatic and unhappy, or idealistic and happy?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be happy.
You'd rather be happy. Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting.
But I feel like
conundrum.
my
I
head's
guess you could
too rooted in reality and like self-awareness that it's like can't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't swallow which one's the is it the blue pill in the Matrix?
I forget.
The one that makes you stay in the Matrix and
Right.
believe everything's great and wonderful.
Yeah. So Miguel, the one who started this whole train of thought. What are your thoughts?
It's tough because my hobbies tend to be more idealistic. I shoot video with you guys, recording stuff, editing, taking photography whenever I can, and then that might show to someone that I'm very idealistic. I have idealistic goals, and that I want to achieve some level of success on a platform like YouTube, or back in the day streaming on Twitch. And like a lot of people, I mean, I think in our generation, our parents kind of see that as kind of like a waste. It is just kind of like a hobby. It's not really like pursuable as a career. And that's not to say it's something that discouraged me. It's just something that I always had in the back of my mind. It's like, maybe this is just a hobby. It's not. I shouldn't take it too seriously. Which, I mean, as a result, I kind of stopped streaming because I did take it too seriously. But like my major in college, kind of would show you that I'm very pragmatic in my choices. I'm not pursuing a degree in film or in art, or I'm going. Just the fact that I'm going to school kind of shows you that I am kind of more pragmatic, because I'm trying to pursue pursue something in academia that'll give me a degree that supposedly will give me a job.
Right.
And specifically my major, which is business administration, more specifically IT. Like it's not really a fun major. I look at two of our friends who have very I guess career I don't want to say driven, because
oriented or what?
I guess so, because their career is more so that people see as like, oh, you're gonna get a job, like pretty much like
it sounds really good.
Because we in our group we have like a finance major, a bio major, and an engineer. And like those, I feel like those majors tend to be like, oh, that guy's going places.
They're I guess you'd say a little bit more respect. They're taken seriously.
Yeah. Which unfortunately is something people believe in, but that's kind of brings me to why I have this kind of conflict in my head. Is it's like maybe I should just drop school for something that I really enjoy like doing, just like shooting movies, recording stuff. And maybe it'll fall into place. Like with enough hard work, it'll pay off.
But here's the thing. As I said before, it's good to have like a balance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've actually brought it up, and I've screamed at the viewers. It's like if you're like you don't see any progress after a certain amount of time, then you really have to reevaluate where your priorities are and where you should kind of focus your efforts in.
That's right. Yeah.
And that becomes that big struggle, is that should I, even though I'm not like seeing automatic results like you would maybe with pursuing a degree, because I feel like progress in creative forms, I feel like it's hard to measure, just because it is so hard to. It's viewed either as like, oh, you get instant success, or it's like it's just very slow, and you're like it almost seems like impossible.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's an interesting thing there where it's like if you're talking about progress, it's like I feel like if you're in the creative type and you're like honing your craft, you are seeing progress with your skills.
That's true.
And your ability, maybe not being acknowledged or hitting commercial success or anything like that, but you are like progressing and like your passion of doing something, like you're improving.
Right.
But honestly, the sides of the spectrum that we fall on really depends on personally what you prioritize. Do you prioritize being pragmatic and being prepared for everything no matter what happens, or do you prioritize your happiness
Mm-hmm.
or your sense of fulfillment?
And that's what I keep challenging
That
myself.
is the
pretty much
conundrum.
every day I go to school, every day I work with with you guys, is that am I gonna settle for being secure and safe financially? I'm talking about finances wise.
Yeah.
Am I gonna settle for that versus being happy and legitimately be happy with
and
what
fulfilled?
with what I'm working in?
It's like just to clear up something. It's like we're not making this distinction as like good or bad. There's no good or bad at this. Like each side has its pros and cons.
Right.
But in me personally, I prioritize happiness.
Right. No. I mean, you can see it obviously because you are prioritizing that like creative muscle, I guess, in your system.
I guess you could say that.
Is it the right side or the left side of the brain that's more creative?
The right? I forget. I'm not a neuroscientist.
You're satisfying that side of your brain, right?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I mean,
like the creative part of myself.
With
yeah.
brain cum.
Jesus Christ. And well, I mean that's something I don't want to say struggle, but that's something I ask myself on a regular basis. Is that like, am I okay with pretty much doing what I'm doing now, and hoping to see results, and however long it takes, or do I want to like kind of take the easy way out and pursue a career? And not that saying getting a degree is easy, but kind of being safe essentially. It's like I see it as two different roads, which some would say it's like. Because this is really where the crux of my problem is that there's these two roads, right? And in my head, every time I try justifying going to school, it's like, oh, I want to, I'm gonna get a degree so I can have money and have some stability so I can pursue some my extracurricular hobbies. And I was like, oh, and in my head, like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But on my other side of the brain, it's like, or you can just like not waste that time and just kind of focus on this other path and make sure you see some progress and you fulfill that side of your brain to a like a satiable extent. Let me reset the camera.
All right.
I think. Oh, I mean, I feel ultimately the route you just explained with working and then dedicating, kind of half and half, like whatever free time you do have when you're not doing your full-time job or going to school. You dedicate to like what your passion is, your creative outlet. I think it's probably the most reasonable kind of decision to make. I mean, if you really want to be secure and love what you're doing, then you kind of have to budget out all your time to still do your creative thing and ensure that you're gonna have a decent quality of life. Or, I mean, everyone's situation is different. Mm-hmm. Like me in particular, like I kind of need like something more secure, just because I mean I'm not married, I don't have kids, but my parents are like older, so I feel like I'm gonna have to take like the brunt of financial responsibility a little bit sooner than I think other people would.
I see. Yeah.
Or our situation's a little bit different, so I kind of have to pursue something a little bit more financially secure, or like get a degree or something like that. Mm-hmm. Than like doing full on my creative passion or whatever. And even sometimes like I'm still trying to figure out like what I'm like super passionate about, or like what I could see myself doing, like ideal job.
Right.
But I think that's probably the most reasonable or like pragmatic thing to do, is like kind of, I guess, split your time in half. But I get what you're saying, like, because one thing I always think back to, I remember seeing this interview with Jim Carrey where he was talking about his dad, and he thought his dad was like the funniest guy he ever knew. And his dad ended up being an accountant instead of a comedian.
Yeah.
And he always thought his dad made like the worst choice ever, because like he thought he would have made it like fucking huge, like as big as he became.
Yeah.
But like he took that, like his dad, because his dad kind of felt regret in that sense too. So he always took like that regret, and like he became fucking Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Right.
So that kind of drove him to like be super successful and stuff like that. So I could see your point with trying to like to focus all your creativity and like instead of, I guess, quote unquote wasting time with like being, I guess, safe or secure or stuff like that. It's a hard thing. I don't know. You gotta find like some sort of balance.
And that, I mean, I spoke to someone, not recently, but earlier in the year, about pursuing. Well, I mean, I talked to him about pursuing a career in film, right? And I told him like that's what I really want to do. And we had dinner, and this is someone that kind of made it in the music industry. So he was telling me all about how and he's from Michigan, so it's very kind of like the people from Michigan usually end up working in like factories and stuff, and that's what he was telling me about how his family kind of they stayed home and worked in those factories to provide a living for the rest of their family and for themselves.
Yeah.
But he left to Los Angeles obviously and pursued that his passion, which was music. And he tells me now it's like I look back and I know I'm never gonna regret anything, and that's like one of the biggest pieces of that was like the biggest piece of advice that he gave me was like live life with no regrets. Don't look back and be like, what if? And that's like I always have that advice in the back of my mind because it's like I always tell myself, is it going to be that bad? Am I going to regret it that much? And is it going to affect my psyche that much, or am I just going to be like, it's something that could have been. It's a road that I just like didn't take, so I'm not even going to be able to think about all those possibilities. But on the other side, it's like I don't want to, because I already live my life with so many other regrets in life, like small decisions that it's such a big decision now. I don't want to look back and be like, well, I don't like where my life is right now. Right. Like I have a house and I have my bills paid, but I'm not fulfilled.
That's honestly that's honestly how I that's like my philosophy, I guess, in living my life is that will I regret this in the future? And so far I'm saying no. So you just go with that, and it's like honestly just make the decisions that like you want, like in the moment, and then think about it later. I don't know, but that sounds kind of bad. But
that's how a lot of us got here.
That's right.
It's true. but honestly, like everything I'm doing right now, I will not regret. Recording the podcast, doing my YouTube videos. I feel that wherever I go, like in the future, I don't think I will regret the steps that I took to get there.
Right.
And honestly, just balance between pragmatism and idealism.
It's
and
probably,
like what Eddie was saying was a pretty good point, is that trying to, if you're not in this like spot where like pragmatism and idealism meet, I guess you can say, is that you do kind of have to like if you're really passionate about pursuing your dreams, you gotta section time off of it. This might sound a little bit like maybe too overly optimistic, but I feel that if you put hard work or hard effort into anything you do, it will pay off in some way. You know what I mean? It's like, some people think that, if you spend too much time focusing on your art, you won't get anywhere.
Right.
But as Eddie said, you're making progress in honing your craft.
Yeah.
And like that's something, you know what I mean? Just like anything that you put hard work into.
I think a lot of people measure success differently than others too.
That's a good point too. Yeah. People have different definitions of success, and it all depends. Like if where you want to go is what is your definition of success, and going back to like what do you prioritize?
Yeah. Some see it as like a that number in their bank account, and some see it as happiness.
Exactly.
Which I mean that's where you have to make that decision for yourself. Cool.
I feel like if you, let's say for someone, you explain to them like, oh, I'm in the YouTube space, I have this channel, and then like I feel like some people were like, oh, how many subscribers do you have? Like, are you biggest PewDiePie or like some famous YouTuber?
That's right. Yeah.
And like, no, I don't have that many subscribers, but like, I feel if you could say like I'm supporting myself with my with my channel and stuff like that, I feel like that's a huge fucking success.
Yeah.
That's the dream pretty much.
And I will say I haven't quite got there yet, but I'm on my way.
Yeah,
I'm on my way.
On your way.
That's the thing with being idealistic. Well, that's where you can kind of see the public's opinion on that issue.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like being pragmatic is more socially acceptable. Like when you tell someone, "Oh,
yeah, that's true.
I'm like pursuing film. Oh, I'm pursuing dance. I'm pursuing music." It's like, okay, like what do you have to show for it?
Yeah, exactly. But I say it doesn't matter what you think.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm just making that point.
But that is a fact.
On the other on the super high end of the idealistic spectrum, like we revere models, musicians, movie stars, filmmakers. Yeah. We have them on such a high pedestal that it's like, well, fuck.
Oh, they consume all our free time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really fucking weird.
Yeah, it's like that's a good thing to bring up, is that like
I didn't think about that.
Like when I'm watching, I'm getting my appetite for that day, not like literally.
No,
but,
no,
like,
yeah, I got
brain
you.
wise, I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
watching a movie. I'm
Little
like,
brain snack.
fuck, that was good. Like, I wanna be able to make that kind of thing. Like, I mean, not a lot of people view cinema or television like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely do feel like, and that's kind of why I see myself as being more idealistic in that sense. It's like every time I watch something, I'm inspired to create.
I see. Yeah.
It's not something like, oh, that was fun to watch.
Right. You're like one of those people who is not just satisfied by going to the red box and picking up a cheap movie.
Exactly.
You have a refined palate.
Exactly.
For your entertainment.
Grown Ups 3.
Exactly.
What are you talking about? That's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It will be a masterpiece.
Oh God. It's gonna be the Plan 9 of outer space of the modern generation.
Was Chris Rock in the second one?
I don't know.
In which?
In
Grown Ups.
Oh, I
Adam
think so.
Sandler.
I think so. I
Because
think
he
that
was in the first one.
I think
don't
they
know
went
if he was
all.
the second
I
one.
think they went all back. I think they were all back.
Really?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Chris Rock can do better.
So is that? Do you have? I mean, I think we covered it. I think we did talk about it.
Yeah, I think
That satisfied my needs.
Okay. Okay. And honestly, like
Yeah.
if you're living your life, that's kind of it's gonna sound selfish, but that's kind of like all that matters because honestly, you can't really know what other people want from you.
Mm-hmm.
So like the only thing that you could really know in this life is what you want.
Right.
Like with 100% certainty. You know what you want, so you pursue that. Like well, obviously don't hurt anybody
Yeah.
and try to do as much good as you can for others, but don't live your life for others, live your life for yourself.
Right.
Because that you know.
That's good.
Yeah. Watch Madoka Magica. That it taught me that.
Any final thoughts?
I was just gonna make fun of religion for a second.
Jesus
No.
Christ.
So I'll say, but God has a plan.
That's a,
I honestly feel like that because I mean, there's a lot of religious people from several religions, and I feel like that's something that's like their fate isn't necessarily in their hands.
Right.
They feel that way.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I just think that's really like, that's.
I agree with you there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like that sucks if you think.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
In a way,
And
Because
some
you're
people
just
find that reassuring. I think it's kind of like, well, what if?
Yeah. No.
what if
I
have different
agree
plans?
because
Or feel differently.
for me it's like no. It's
Yeah.
like I don't want to just like because you brought up religion and it made me it got me thinking about like if there is no heaven or hell, like this is really only the one shot you got.
Yeah.
Do not. I don't know. I don't remember
then make the best of
It's
it. Honestly,
funny
yeah.
because to me that's reassuring because I don't know, in my head it means like nothing matters. And
No, I get what you
reason,
mean.
That's reassuring because
Yeah.
like
Right.
it doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just this is it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be placed in a
Yeah.
cat. I'm not gonna be judged afterwards. Or
Right.
it's not gonna end up like
That's right.
what I do. I mean that's also an excuse to be a shitty person.
Yeah.
But like to me, it's like I could just freely live my life the way like because it's like this small percent chance that life grew here and I got to be here drinking beer on on this videograph. It's like it blows my mind and it's like
Yeah.
And I guess like you can call it like a miracle.
yeah, and I'm like, all right, that's good enough.
And
At least I got to do it.
that reminds me of something. I think this would be kind of a good note to close it on. Is that you guys heard of the philosophy of nihilism, right?
Yeah.
The notion that nothing matters in this life because we're just gonna die and it's gonna be over with.
Yeah.
And as you said, some people take that as an excuse to be shitty and to not care about anything. But there's another group of nihilists that actually like they have this idea that because there's nothing after death, because this is our one shot at life, make the best of it and like try your best to make
best for everyone else too.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like you're not gonna get another chance, and might as well use this limited time that we have to spread happiness and good vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like it.
I like that version of
that-
nihilism.
That's a good note to end it on.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining
Don't
us.
be a piece of shit.
There you go. Thank you guys for joining us, episode 2 of Tops and Bottoms. Don't forget, if you have a topic you want to submit to us that you might want us to cover on this show, tweet at us using the hashtag Tops and Bottoms, and maybe your topic will be seen on the show.
Because as you can see by the second episode, we ran out of ideas.
Exactly. And of course, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe if
That's
you haven't
right.
already. Let us know what you think about the show.
And
Follow the channel's YouTube, Twitter page. Follow our individual Twitter pages. Eddie still hasn't made one. I'm always gonna call you out on it until you make one.
yeah, exactly.
Like our Facebook page and share with your friends, of course. As
And
always.
thank you so much for over 2K subscribers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
When
so
did we
much.
hit that number?
I think we probably hit it a while ago.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I just saw it today actually.
Here we go to 3,000.
No, we're next stop 3K.
That's right, guys.
And of course, this episode's gonna come out a week after Thanksgiving. So I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I hope you ate the fuck out of those juicy ass birds.
Stuff your fat face with turkey. And we will catch you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye bye.
And the sexy music cuts in.